Hello and a warm welcome to another workshop about what is new in the Management Center 2.7. In that workshop we are concentrating on the fantastic functionality which is called Camera Manager. With the Camera Manager we have a fantastic tool for each administrator of a MOBOTIX project. All what the administrator needs to do is to open the dialog here, go to the component view, and in the component view there is a new tab, it's called Cameras. As you can see, the former tabs, file server data, smart data source, SIM clients and soft bonds are still there, and we have only added in the first row the new tab cameras. In that tab we have what we called our Camera Manager. With that Camera Manager we have three major parts of the dialog. Let us start here with the center part. Here we have a matrix overview of the existing cameras in my project. This is sorted by the model icon of the camera name, the current camera IP address, the standard factory IP address of the cameras, and very, very important, we have now, thanks to the developers, an overview of the existing camera software which is installed on the specific camera, and we have also the possibility to delete, to remove a camera from the project. On the right hand side we have here our settings, the connection settings to adding a camera to the management center. That means here you can type in the name, the type of the camera model, also the IP address where the camera is reachable, and also the user credentials, and further more settings are possible and hidden in the specific configuration areas. Last but not least, we have also there an area which is called Discovery, where cameras which are reachable in the network but not connected or added to the project yet will be visible in the camera discovery and can simply by drag and drop added to the management center project and be useful and able to be used in the management center, and also can be configured by the camera manager. If we getting to the lower part of the image here, where we have our command bar, and we see here a lot of icons which we can use in combination with the selected cameras above. That means here we have the possibility to select one camera, or we can select multiple cameras, or we can select all cameras, and then we're selecting a function in the command bar. If we're pressing here on the first icon, we see this is the reboot, and that means, okay, please execute and reboot on the selected cameras. I don't do that right now because it makes no sense that we're now rebooting the cameras and waiting the seconds after the cameras will come back. But it's only for an explanation how you can select cameras and choosing the right functionality. Let us explain which functions are behind that icons here. The next one is the backup devices. If I clicking on that, then it will creating from the two selected cameras a backup of the configuration, of the camera configuration. That we can use with the third button. Maybe there's a reason later on to say I want to restore my backup to the cameras again to get to a clear definition of a working camera setup. I also don't do that. Yeah? The next one is a very important one, because here I can see right now I have here different firmware versions on my P5 camera. And then I can decide to say, now, why is here a special camera software on it? Maybe that makes no sense. Yeah. And then you can say, okay, I want to update the cameras. And then if you say, okay, then it will ask where is the MPL file, the camera firmware of the cameras, to progress with the update. I don't do that as well in this case, only as a reminder. Until you have starting the update, you will see the update progress here in the upper field. It shows how far the different cameras are with the update process. The next button is for factory default. We have also in the camera manager the possibility to switch each camera to the factory default settings. Sometimes this is required, and now with the camera manager you can select one camera or multiple cameras to follow the factory default. Here the next 4 icons are more a kind of wizard. That means if we're pressing here, for example, we have now choosing 2 cameras in this case, and if we're selecting right now the health check, there we getting to a new tab where the health check is now analyzing the health status of each camera. And you can see immediately I have an issue in my setup, I know that, but it's a good example how the health check will work. My garden camera has 2 warnings, yeah? And one warning says please check the system messages, and the second warning is in the network area, and it's mentioned, oh, you have a lot of network dropped packages. Please check cabling and switch. Absolutely be aware what the problem is, but as you know, sometimes you have not the time to fix the cable issues. There are some older cable connectors at the outside which need to replace immediately, but I was not able to do that. The same here with the thermal camera, but there's the situation a little bit more critical. There are more network drops in there, and there's also an issue with my second sensor in that camera. I have disconnecting here the sensor cable, yeah, to reproduce that issue, and also I have here issues with my network that are losing too many network packages, and I need to check that. So nevertheless, the functionality is there. The health check shows me there is an issue and that I need to fix that issue. And if I go back to the camera tab and maybe say, okay, I want selecting not only 2 cameras, I want to select all cameras and get back to the health, and get pressing again the health check symbol here in the command bar. Then it's open again the health check, but now it says taking all cameras and make an analyzing of all my cameras in the system. And of course, 4 of the cameras are not connected currently to my system, and the other 2, the garden and the thermal camera, are connected, and we have seen them before. If we getting back here to the cameras and selecting maybe thermal only 1 camera or even 2 cameras, doesn't matter. There we have also the other wizards available in the command bar. One of them is the secure system, and with the secure system we have the possibility to get through a wizard which checks if the HTTPS is activated, is the admin password different or differ from the standard MxM password, and it's also check if the public access is still enabled. If that will be the case, then the system will, if we are checking this, we see that immediately, okay, he tells me the default password is changed, that's fine, that's good. Public access is disabled, but on that 2 cameras I have enabled HTTPS and needs to be fixed. I have changed it for some testing reasons, but nevertheless the secure system could fix that issue immediately. And there we have also a wizard for the door stations. If we have connected the door station, then this icon will be selectable, and then we can initialize the basic setup of a door station with all the door masters and so on, additional accessories. Last but not least, in that wizard selections, we have the SSL certification, which also checks if the SSL certificate is still valid and allows us as well to upload a self-generated SSL certificate or an SSL certificate what we was getting from the IT department to following here the security process in the company. I also don't get through that the wizards, but you keep in mind these wizards are available, and the last 3 buttons which are still there in the right area of the command bar are web links. That means show the live cameras of the selected cameras in a browser window. That means you don't need to open a browser separately, need to get to get to the IP address and things like that. It's automatically open a browser page. I have already typed in my user credentials, and I can access via the browser interface to that camera. So from the principle that functionality is clear, this one opens the general web page of the camera. This icon means open the admin dialog of the camera, and the last icon means open the setup dialog of the cameras. So the last thing what I really like to highlight after you have finalized the project and make the best setup and updates and secure everything, then you have also the possibility to creating a CSV file which contains a lot of the information of the installed cameras and firmware version. You can store that on your hard drive, and I have already prepared a CSV file. That it's what you will get. You get the informations about the model which are installed in the project, the current camera name. You see also the existing IP addresses in the system. You see the factory IP addresses. You're also getting the firmware versions of the cameras, and if the cameras will be aligned to some groups. Currently I have only all cameras, no group defined. Then you will get also information about in which groups the cameras are integrated. And you have also some possibilities to adding some notes. Yeah, maybe you can say, okay, you have recognized that the Garden camera has some network issues, and this needs to be fixed by the electrician. Yeah, and so on. That you can type in, and then suddenly you can print it out and hand it out to the customer and say, okay, job is done. This is what I have done, and this is what needs to be done by the subcontractors or sub-companies or other handcraftsmen. The last thing maybe which gets in your mind, if you be a power user of the management center, you say, wait a minute, these settings was before in the sidebar. Yes, that's right. These settings are still in the sidebar. You see, you have also the possibility to using the setup dialog in the sidebar to changing the connection IP address or user credentials or the other things. But in the future, we want to disable these pop-up dialogues and concentrate only in the component view in the camera manager, because there you have all informations on one page and all the wizards and possible functions available, and not split it all over the management center. The same here for that 4 wizards, or also for the update assistant and backup of the system. If you open the component, the selector here, the view selector, there is still the wizard and tools, and you can see there's also possibility to update the system or secure the system. But this belongs then to the group all cameras, what you have selected here, or you're choosing a specific camera, then you have the thermal camera, but you missed the informations, which camera is that, what IP address, which firmware is that, yeah, how is the camera set it up, yeah. And now with the camera manager, you have everything on one page to a clear overview to give you a perfect view to make your work in a short time with a good overview. And as you can see, now I have connected in the meantime another camera to my system. There I also have the possibility to drag and drop this camera to the system, and then immediately that camera is integrated in my system. And the last thing what I need to do is selecting here the camera and say, okay, it's not a standard password because this camera was already pre-configured from me and has a specific password on it. You need to set up, and then you have adding the camera to the system. I hope that provides you an overview how you can use the camera manager in your daily administrator work and enjoy the new functionalities of the management center. Thank you and goodbye.